Hello everyone. I'm Brian Croy Dragon, and welcome to today's stream. Stream. I swear I'm fine. We'll start in just a moment. Just wait a bit. Hold that thought. Telephone. Alright, still just hang on. We'll get started. There we go. Yes, Alex, hello. You're a very good kitten, Alex. Very good indeed. What? Hey. Now, continuing from Friday, just hold on a moment. Right, here we are. Growing up in Egypt. What was it like to grow up in ancient Egypt? The answer all depends on what kind of family you had. The sons and daughters of pharaohs and noble families had private tutors and lots of toys. They could enjoy music, hunting, and many sports. Most children, however, never went to school. Instead, they learned trades from their parents, and then, just barely out of their teens, married and started raising families of their own. And that doesn't seem much different. Excuse me. Off to school. One only wealthy parents sent their boys to school, most often to become scribes. Girls usually stayed home and learned household skills from their mothers. The scribes who ran the schools worked their students hard. Boys began classes at age 5 and spent about 10 years learning how to read and write hieroglyphs, calculate taxes, and perform the other tasks required of a scribe. But their efforts paid off. Scribes didn't have to work in the fields, serve in the army, or even pay taxes. Lucky. Carpenter's tools. Most boys didn't go to school. As soon as they were old enough to help, boys visited their father's shops to learn about carpentry, jewelry making, and other crafts. Children on farms helped with planting and gathering crops and taking care of animals. Let's just make this fit. Toys. Brightly painted wooden animals, especially horses, lions, hippos, and crocodiles, were the favorite toys of many small children. This brightly painted toy horse rolled along on wheels. Game of strategy. Egyptians loved to play a game called Senet. The goal was to move a marker to a square that marked the kingdom of Osiris. But the player had to avoid many hazards along the way. Water sports. It was like summer almost every day in Egypt. Perfect weather for splashing around the Nile or racing boats through the marshes. If children got bored playing in the river, they wrestled, played catch, and ran races. Some kids even had bows and arrows to hunt birds and other small animals. Battle at sea. Boys divided into teams to play a favorite game. Standing on their boats, they used long poles to knock one another into the water. What's for supper? Every day, most Egyptians ate bread. They also had figs, melons, and pomegranates. Beans, lettuce, onions, and cucumbers were also common foods. Egyptian bread was tough, and people had to chew carefully because bits of rock and sand often got into the flour. If they bit down too hard, they could break a tooth. That sounds dangerous. Catch of the day. Fish and maybe a duck or a goose made a tasty dinner for many people. The marshes attracted lots of waterfowl, and the Nile teemed with fish. Some bird hunters used nests to snare whole flocks of ducks. Wait. Some bird hunters used nets to snare whole flocks of ducks. There, that's better. Pets. Cats were the most popular and useful pets in Egypt. With all the grain and other food lying around, there were always plenty of mice to catch. But to the Egyptians, cats were also symbols of the goddess Bastet. When a pet cat died, it was made into a mummy. To show their grief, family members shaved their eyebrows and then buried the cat mummy in a special animal cemetery. Sacred cat. The cat was the symbol of the goddess Bastet, a daughter of the sun god. Egyptians believed that she helped ripen the crops. Statues of Bastet as a cat often had gold earrings. Growing up and marriage. Children weren't children for long in ancient Egypt. Boys usually got married in their late teens, as soon as they finished school or learned their father's trade. Girls got married at about age 14, but some brides were much younger, only 9 or 10. Sister wife. To keep the power of the throne in the family, princes and pharaohs sometimes married their sisters or even their own daughters. That is a fact. Ramses II never married his sisters, but he did marry a few of his daughters. Maybe just one, I can't exactly remember. Actually, how about we look it up before I read this? Okay, let's see, our Nefertari, family background unknown. Possibly a great-granddaughter of Isetnofret. Parents of Isetnofret are not known. Mathorneferrer, daughter of the Hittite king Hattusili III and his queen Pudahepa. Meritamen, daughter of Ramses II and Nefertari. So if you're keeping track at home, that is one uh, of his daughters that he had married so far. Let's see here. Bintana, daughter of Ramses II and Iset Nofret, that's two now. Nebatari, followed by Ramses II, possibly born of Nefertari. So that's three we have now. Let's see here, Hennet Meyer. Follower either Ramses II or Seti I. So Ramses could have married either four of his daughters or one of his sisters. Now carrying on. Forever young. Many Romans who lived in Egypt adopted Egyptian customs and beliefs. Some had their dead bodies preserved as mummies. Instead of placing a mummy mask on a body, as the Egyptians did, Romans often covered the mummy with a portrait, painted on wood. Egyptian artists usually made someone's portrait while the person was still young. The owners then kept the paintings at home until they died. But the hard life during ancient times meant that many mummy paintings were put to use long before a person reached old age. A new style. Experts used to think that Egyptian artists didn't have the technical skill to paint these portraits, but now we know the Egyptians adopted the more realistic style to suit the Romans' wishes. We now know the Egyptians adopted the more realistic style to suit the Romans' wishes. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Okay, next up we have the chronology of ancient Egypt. This isn't the right way. Right way. This is better, but I'm getting a crick in my neck. Okay, so we've got the Archaic period in Egypt. Egypt under menace. The Great Pyramid at Giza built. Old Kingdom in Egypt. First Intermediate period in Egypt. Middle Kingdom in Egypt. Second Intermediate period in Egypt. New Kingdom in Egypt. Hatshepsut rules Egypt. Reign of Thutmose III. Reign of Akhenaten. Reign of Ramses II. Third Intermediate period in Egypt. Yes, looks like we've got someone. Hello, who are you? No, why did I exit out of that? Yeah, it's not like it matters, it's just the chronology we're going through. And it's easy to find. Hello, Alex. Civil war divides Egypt into smaller states. Assyrians plunder Memphis and Thebes. Babylon conquers Egypt. Persia conquers Egypt. Alexander the Great conquers Persia. He is recognized as pharaoh by the Egyptians. Ptolemaic dynasty. You're fine. Reign of Cleopatra um, the seventh, last queen of Egypt. Egypt under Roman rule. Rise of Christianity in Egypt. Muhammad begins dictating the Quran. Muslims invade Egypt. Wait, then what was Muhammad? Wasn't Muhammad? Actually, let's look this up. What was Muhammad if he wasn't Muslim? Founder of Islam. I don't know. Guess he was. No, I don't know. Fatimid dynasty rules Egypt. City of Cairo founded. Well, then that's an error in the Mummy animated series. Cairo can't have destroyed Anoxanomen because, well, it didn't exist during the time of the pharaohs. What the heck? Oh, that's right, I didn't even click on it. And we've come to the menu for work and play for Egypt. So as you can see here, you could have just gone to whatever topic you wanted. A craftsman at work, scholars and scribes, hunting, fishing and fowling, song and dance. The Egyptians at home, all that glitter, sailing on the Nile. Adorning the body, animals of the Nile Valley, toys and games, life on the Nile. Growing up in Egypt. Writing, food and drink. I'm fine. Actually, I think I'll just quickly go blow my nose. Right, so here's the menu for the Egypt section, the main menu for the Egypt section. You could go to Monuments and Mysteries, Work and Play, the Index, Guides, People and Politics. Lots of info. Lots of info indeed. The Egyptians at home. Ancient Egyptians lived in houses built with bricks made of sun-dried mud from the Nile. They painted houses white to reflect the sun, and windows were small to keep out the harsh, bright light and dust. Most houses were simple, but scribes and court officials could afford more expensive homes with several rooms. Their houses often included a small shrine, a central hall for entertaining guests, and separate bedrooms. Preparing a meal. Wealthy people could build large kitchens and keep slaves to cook for them. The cooks prepared fruit and vegetables on long tables. They roasted meat, fish, and birds over a fire pit like a barbecue, and they baked bread in brick ovens. Water, flour, and beer were kept close at hand in big jugs. Speaking of water, fanning the flames. Egyptians didn't have matches, so starting a fire was hard work. Sometimes they spun a wooden stick rapidly against a stone to start a fire, and then fanned the flames to keep it going. Bread or stone. Everyone ate lots of bread. It was coarse and chewy. You had to eat it carefully or you might bite down on the sand that had been added to help grind the grain. Let me entertain you. Being a good host was important to a person's reputation. Although most homes were small, people always made room to entertain. The hosts greeted guests on the terrace and then brought them into the dining area, where everyone could relax around a big table. A pleasant tune. A fancy dinner party included music, often played on lyres, and often stringed instruments that were a lot like modern guitars and harps. An elegant toast. Guests drank from delicate glasses made of faience. Large wine jars had pointed bottoms so they could be placed in decorative stands near the table. A good night's rest. In the hot summer, everyone probably slept on the roof, for they could rest in the cool northern breeze. If a house was large enough, it had several bedrooms furnished with wooden beds and mattresses made of reeds. Wooden pillow? Egyptians put pillows on headrests, not directly on the mattresses or floor, as we do today. Headrests may look uncomfortable, but they allowed cool air to flow around the neck, and they kept the head out of reach of scorpions. Well, that's smart. Plenty of pots. The Nile supplied water, food, and transportation to ancient Egyptians, but it also brought them plenty of mud. Egyptians used mud from the river to make bricks for building, and they used its clay to make pottery. Potters in ancient Egypt didn't have a wheel to help them shape their pots, but they still managed to produce vessels that were prized throughout the ancient world. And pottery is still important to people along the Nile. Click the button to see how pottery is made in Egypt today. Yeah, just a moment. Application not responding, why not? How? Force quit again. Horse quit again. God's sake, what's wrong with MK Player today? Oh no, spinning beach ball of doom. Terrific. The Finder is not application not responding on Finder. How is going on? Screw it. Relaunch. Hell. What the? Relaunch. Relaunch. Jeez. Keep hitting relaunch, but it doesn't do anything. perfect. So this is basically it for my stream unless my Finder actually relaunches. Well, that didn't work. Let's see here. Activity monitor. Well, that was would seem to be it for today against my will. We'll continue. Guess I'm ending early, ahead of schedule. I'll continue starting with this video on Thursday. I'm Brian Croydrigan signing out. Stay Shrey.